I will. Yeah, I'm recording, Henry. Thank you for the reminder. I want to see where we're at on the lab.
There's no poll showing.
There is for a bunch of people.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm not sure why yours is. Maybe you'll need to restart.
Okay.
No.
I don't know what's taking. We only have 61% of people. It's been out for 50 seconds. Let's go. Click, 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 click. Okay, so just about everybody seems to need more time. All right, I'm gonna stop the poll. I'll share the results with you. You can see them?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So of the people that want some more time, can some of you tell me about how far you got and what's been the main thing that's been keeping the process slow?
I'm doing the to-do list one, and I'm just getting to the part where like you click it and I guess it crosses out and stuff like that. So I just got there. So I got the items to pop up on the screen. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all over the place with the lab.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the toggle part as well.
At the toggle part, okay.
To me, honestly, I'm trying to really fully understand this, and I feel like the labs have been coming in back to back, and I haven't really had time to just understand what it is that I'm learning. But
Okay.
I wouldn't mind having a little bit more time on today's lab.
Okay.
I mean, on yesterday's lab, because like me personally, I looked at it right now and I started it like an hour before class, but it's because I've been since 1 p.m. I've been like trying to understand. I've been watching the recordings from yesterday's class, just trying to understand what it is that I'm trying to do. I understand it, but I just need a little more time to it. I just needed a little more time to understand.
Okay. Appreciate that, Henry. What else?
Corby, I'm just having issues with the flow of how to build vertically, and that's my main issue. So I have to get into the swing of things to make sure that my input is working correctly, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's it's just getting used to Redux. That I just haven't, it's just not there yet.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, and everybody worked on the lab. You can just kind of nod your head. Everybody worked on the lab for the 4 hours that were open on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still running out of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just do a small review. I'm gonna throw up one more poll, just to see how we're doing, and maybe we could just talk about these things a bit, and then we'll go ahead and keep going on the lab. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take 5 minutes or so to answer these 10 questions on Redux and everything else. Let me know if for some reason we're unable to see this.
I hope they saw that.
Story, Jay?
I don't see anything. Did you put it up already?
Yes, I launched it, but nobody's answered. So
No, I don't see anything.
I don't see anything. Okay, I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
It's here. It's here.
Now it's here. Oh, there's an interesting bug with Zoom. On the second launch of a thing, it always doesn't seem to work. Interesting.
He said, "Hey, why wasn't you coming with me?"
Bruce, that's a great mask, by the way. Love the mask. Yeah, I know you can't talk. Okay. Let's try to finish this up in another 30 seconds or so.
How many minutes we got left?
About 30 seconds.
Okay, cool. Gracias.
Anybody got the answer to number 7?
Yeah, it's
We're going to go over.
Command Q.
Don't forget to carry the 1.
Command Q. Nice.
So Z wasn't the answer. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're all are wild.
You can't see past my cool mask, but I'm laughing.
Yeah, cool. Love it. I love a good laugh. Okay, we're at 58% of people have voted. I think we can do a little bit better than that. Come on. I know we can. I believe in us. I believe in our power to vote. This is good practice for real life. You should always vote. I guess that's what they tell me. I've actually never voted, but but I hear it's important. People say vote or die. I guess I've chosen death. But I don't know. I hear it's a good vote and vote often. Yeah, maybe so. We're still at 58. Come on, come on. I know we got a couple more people. If you're not answering, I'm not sure why. And maybe if you don't participate in these, you can let me know how come sometime. Because I'd like to make it as effective as possible. All right, let's close it out though, because the number's not changing. So I'm going to end our poll. And I believe I'm going to be able to share our results. Are you able to see the results?
No.
This always happens.
No.
No, never. Okay, I will.
Ray Charles to the poll.
The opposite of yes.
This happens. It's the same bug. I think I've gotten used to it. Now you can see the results though, right?
Nope.
I'm Stevie Wonder now. To
Yeah.
the poll.
Still no?
I'm
It's
Stevie
still the
Wonder.
opposite of yes.
It says that you are. Fascinating. Okay, well, there goes the poll. Let me see if I can find it again. Okay. Are you able to see it?
No.
Ray Charles.
Hang on. I think, I guess it's, okay, well, I'm just going to go over it then, regardless. Oh, well. Okay, so the first question was pretty interesting. Action creators dispatch actions to the store. Now, we got this question already on a poll. Actually, we've seen it twice. And it still got most of you, although it didn't at the end of the last time we got this question, right? Action creators do not dispatch actions to the store. Action creators purely return an action. An action is an object. The action creator just returns a created action. It doesn't handle any dispatching. Dispatch is a method that we get from our store. Okay, when we create store, we get that dispatch, get store, replace reducer, and subscribe. Okay, so action creators return an action, just a function.
That's not their baby. That's his niece.
Question number 2 was the databases I have used during my time at Pursuit. So we have only used, how many people voted false? Henry wanted to know. Only 6 people voted false on the last one, and 8 people voted true. So databases. So we've only used one database throughout. We've used Postgres. Okay, so 7 people who said pSQL. pSQL is a tool we've used to view the inside of our database to see what's going on there, but it's not our database. 13 people did say Postgres, so that's awesome. 13 out of 14 of the replies. 5 of those 14 people also said Express. Express is not a database. Express is a library that is in charge of the way we've been using it, in charge of making a server for our routing, and so that we can take in requests and give back responses. It is not a database. 3 out of 14 people said Node. Node is not a database. Node is a back-end technology. Node is the environment in which our programs are running on the back end. So Express is a library that's running in Node. Okay. 5 out of 14 said PG Promise. Nope. PG Promise is a package that is allowing us to interact with our database. It's taking in pure SQL and it is interacting with our database. 4 out of 14 people put MySQL. MySQL is a different SQL language. It is not a database. I think it's definitely not a database we've been using. And 5 out of 14 people said SQL. SQL is not a database. SQL is a structured query language where it is purely for accessing and changing or updating information. It's the language of the database, Postgres, but Postgres is the only database we've used. So we've been writing Express backend projects in Node with a Postgres database. Okay. I know it's like kind of a weird question to be asking today, but I was having some conversations with people lately, and it is super important that you know the technology that you're supposed to know. Like you have to know what it is and what it does. If you say, I know Express, and then they say, what is it? And you say it's a database, the interview is over. It's super important. So practice, look up every technology thing we've used and make sure you know what it is, what it does, and how you've been using it, okay? Okay, one can write React without Redux and Redux without React. Okay, 13 out of 14 people said true, and that's perfect. Nice job, right? We used to write React without Redux all the time, and then that other day we wrote Redux without React. So pure functions can have side effects. 86% of people got this one right. They cannot. A pure function has no side effects. It takes in the same input and returns the same output. Given the same input, always returns the same output and has 0 side effects. That's what makes our functions pure. Good job with that. Interacting with the database is synchronous or asynchronous. 79% of people said asynchronous. That is correct, right? Our database, interacting with it, we don't know how long it's going to take. We can go make our request. Our request hits our server. Our server uses some sort of middleman, or in our case, we've been using PG Promise to talk to our database. The database gives back some information. Our server takes that piece of information back and sends it up to the user as a response. So that is asynchronous because we don't know how long something will take, and other things can happen. What is a Redux action? Okay, so we're a little bit all over the board on this one. It says a function. So an action, Redux action is not a function. A Redux action is just an object with the property type. So 71% of people did include that in their answer. So that's true. That's good. The other answer looks like it was cut off short. It was supposed to be a JavaScript object with a property type and a required payload, which is not true because it just needs to have a type action. 2 people said a callback function. It's not. A callback function is a function that is passed in as an argument to another function. Our actions are just an object with the type property. When an action is dispatched, where does the code go next? 57% of people say reducers. That is correct. Everywhere else, all the other answers are incorrect. So every time an action is dispatched, an action is just an object with type property. It goes over to the reducer. The reducer takes in the state and the action and then updates that slice of state in some way. Okay, always. For now. More than one reducer can listen for the same action type. That is true. We can have multiple reducers listening for that same action, and they can update their own slice of states respectively. And that was pretty split. That we got, but 57% of people got that one right. Awesome job. Number 9, Express acts as our backend by running a server and handling our requests. 100% of people got that one true, which is awesome. Which is also surprising that 100% of people got that right, but people still said that it was a database. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there, right? But everybody did know when they read what Express was that is Express. So that's good. And 10, create store can take in multiple reducers. 71% of people said true. So that is actually false. So congrats to the 4 of you who said false. A create store takes in 1 reducer. So let's take a look at just at that. So when we use creates, when we have multiple reducers though, because that is normal to have multiple reducers in a project, we often have all these different slices of state, and each reducer kind of takes care of its own specific slice. But when we have multiple reducers, like in this example, we had our farmer's reducer as well as our fruit stand reducer. In this case, we needed to create a root reducer where the root reducer's sole job is to combine reducers. This is a built-in method from Redux that takes in reducers, which takes in an object where the keys are whatever name of the slice you want, and the value is the reducers to which you're trying to combine. And then our store actually just takes in our root reducer. Whoops. Right there. This is our initial state. This is not a reducer. And we were going to go over middleware today, but I think we might have to wait on that because we're just a little bit behind where I thought. That's okay. We'll get there. Redux is an interesting pattern. So let's go. Any questions to anything from that poll?
I think like the only thing I got confused is that like the multiple reducer question. I was thinking about the root reducer, and I was like, technically that's 2 reducers in one, and I don't know, overthinking. So yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's a fair point. So what Marvin says is he interpreted that more as like, are there multiple reducers in a project? And if that was the question, absolutely, that's correct. But if we actually look at our create store, it really only does take in 1 reducer. Just this reducer is the combination or the culmination, whatever, of the other reducers that we've combined here using combined reducers.
And you said that those individual reducers can be considered as like slices of state, right?
Yeah, so good question. So the keys here are what the state is going to be. So if we were looking at our, let's see, if we were in our farmer component, right, and we were to put our debugger here, this is use selector. So this is going to give us a peek to what our entire application state is. We can go ahead and look, and we see that this is indeed our state, right? We have this object where we have this fruit slice. That fruit slice is referring to our root reducer here where we said fruits. And then we have our farmer's slice, which is referring to that. And so in our fruits reducer, if we look back and we go to fruit stand reducer, we see that the initial state we're passing it is just this empty object. Although in our store, we are passing it an empty array as well. So we get that empty array here, and we get this object filled with objects. Well, we're getting that because of here. If these weren't here, we would be getting whatever comes out as the default in the reducer. So we would see that our fruit stand would have the empty array, and our farmer reducer would be this empty object if we were not passing in an initial state.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Cool. What other questions do we have? I know we got to have some.
Pure functions.
Pure functions. Okay. So a pure function. Let's write out what a pure function is. Pure function. So a pure function is a function that, given the same input, will always give the same output. Okay? In addition, a pure function must never have side effects. So, if we look at our reducer, we are making this copy of the state every time. Oh, somebody's drawing on here. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe, yeah, there we go. Cool. Is that John?
Sorry, that was me. No, it was me by accident.
Oh, that's cool, Bruce. Yeah, I think that's, how do you do that? There's like an annotate thing, right?
It was something on my phone. It was like a pen above the mute button.
Yeah, I think it's annotate. Yeah, so here, cool. Maybe I'll start using it. So here we have our state that we're making a copy of with the spread operator here.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, we're ensuring that we don't mutate the state that is being passed in here. Clear all drawings. Okay. How do I turn off annotate? Okay, cool. That's an interesting feature. I'll have to play around with that more. So any function here, given the same input, will always give the same output. All right, real quick. Let's say I have a function. It's called adder. Takes an A and B, and it returns A plus B. In the nonverbal chat, please write whether or not this, yes or no, if this is a pure function.
Yes.
Oh, so Danny and David, try to do these in the nonverbal chat. Those are those little symbols by your names.
I think it's confusing when you say the word chat and people think of chat.
Maybe. So from now on, I will call it the nonverbal chat. The other one I'll just call the chat. Wow, that's what they're called. Okay, great. So 17 people said yes. Completely correct. Way to go. Given the same input, so anytime we call, like if I always say adder and I say 5 and 4, given that same input, every time I call this with 5, 4, I am always going to get back 9. So that's cool. And there's no side effects, which means I'm not mutating anything that I'm given. So let's say I had a function called sort. And this, whoops, this takes in an array. And this returns my array.sort, A comma B, A minus B. Okay. In the nonverbal chat, let me know. Is this a pure function? Is sort a pure function? All right, cool. Yeah, pretty overwhelming response there for a no. Yeah, sort is not a pure function. Sort is mutating our array. Sort mutates the array, and therefore it is not a pure function. Nice. Let's leave a little note here. Pure function, not pure function. Okay, cool. What other questions do we have?
Oh, Corey.
Yes.
In our reducer, right?
Yep.
We don't want to mutate our state. So this
correct.
might be like a two-part question. So why don't we want to mutate our state?
So one of the key concepts of Redux is that our reducers are pure. Otherwise, we can get unexpected behavior with side effects that can lead to very difficult bugs. So it's just kind of the accepted pattern, and it's to keep your function safe, very predictable. The only thing that should be updating or changing our state is a dispatch of an action to our store, which will make the appropriate update and give back this brand new fresh store side effect free. It's just a safer pattern.
Okay. So essentially, that makes sense. So we don't want to do anything in the reducer. We don't want to mutate state in the reducer. We just want to be able to dispatch to be able to correctly update our store, and we'll be able to have that information. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, great question. What else? What other questions are we having with just kind of the general flow? Like, what part is taking us the longest on our lab that we could use a little refresher?
So I have a question, but it's not related to the lab.
Okay.
So let's say like we have multiple states on our web page. Is that gonna is the time that it takes to update the state gonna start to lag because that object is just gonna keep growing? Or is there a way to like split everything up instead of just having one huge object of a whole bunch of different states?
Yeah, that's a cool question. As far as I know, I think the things you keep in the reducer are generally like just the things you need. So like, because usually like if you're getting like products or something, like you don't grab all the products anyway. You just grab the first like 20 products or 100 products instead of like the 1,000 products on your application. And so that kind of keeps it a bit more manageable. I'd have to look more into that though to give like a more in-depth answer of like actual performance and how that's going to be affected with Redux. I know that companies use Redux when they're dealing with large applications generally. So I imagine the performance can't be too hurt. No more hurt than keeping it all in our application state. And threading it, but I can't give you a great answer on that. Sorry, Doug. What else? Anything else?
Reducers, Corey. Can you just further explain reducers a little bit?
Sure. So a reducer is a pure function that takes in the current state and an action. And when that occurs, it by convention has a switch statement that looks at our action type, and based off of that type, it's going to update, or it's going to create a new version of our current slice of state and update it to be what we desire based off of the type of action that we're requesting and or the payload that's being passed with the action. And then it's going to send that back. So that's the whole reducer's job, is just to take in state, take in the action, and make an update.
And the object freeze, that's another thing that's part of the reducer that I was like a little lost on.
So the object.freeze is not something that you're required to do. This will throw an error if you accidentally mutate the state. That's all that's doing. I think it only makes a shallow copy though, so it won't throw an error if you try to like update an object inside of an object. But if you just do the first layer, it would throw an error. It's just acting there as like extra protection. I misspelled this somehow, I think. Oh, well. Accidentally. Did I misspell that?
2 C's.
2 C's.
Thank you. I knew it looked a little off. It was also underlined. What else? So, the flow. When you're writing these applications, you should be building a reducer. You should be building a root reducer. So you probably have a to-dos reducer. You probably have a next to-do reducer. And you probably have a visibility filter reducer. You don't have to build all of them at once. You can just build one at a time, right? You should have a root reducer, which would take in your to-dos, visibility filter, as well as next to-do. Your to-dos is probably only listening for a few things, like receive to-do or add to-do, toggle to-do. I think that's it. Visibility filter should just be listening to a change, anything being dispatched, and update it to its actions payload, to all completed or complete or active. Your filtering of which to-dos to show should be done on the front end. So you would have to take some things out using a use selector to see what I need from my store. So I would have my to-dos, I would have the current filter that I'm working with, as well as in my form, I would also probably be taking the ID that I'm gonna pass in to be the next to-do, which I'm getting from my selector. You need to have an action, action types for all those things, and also action creators for each one of those types that you'll dispatch when needed. Okay, so that's kind of how you should be thinking about structuring it. So set up your to-dos reducer, add it into a root reducer, set up your store, check to make sure things are, make an action, your action creator, check them, put the function on the window, test it, make sure it's working okay. That's about it. And then create a component, do use select or use dispatch where needed in order to get the access onto things of your store. And then the rest is just regular old React, a quick form, a quick LI inside of a UL, bada bing. Okay, any other questions? All right, so let's do it. I guess we'll give the rest of the day for this lab. It seems like people need some more time. Definitely get it done. Definitely reach out for help. Okay, I don't think I had anybody reach out for help yesterday from me. Would have loved to have helped. Okay, let me know. I'm around till 10. Don't reach out at 9:55 if you haven't reached out prior. Okay, although you can, but like reach out if you need help. And yeah, that's it. Okay, tomorrow we'll start to think about asynchronous action creators, and that's going to be awesome. And we'll update our to-do app some more. Cool. Oh, I'll stop my share. Okay. I'll see you later.